Many kids went back to school last week after winter break. Some maybe with renewed excitement, others perhaps more reluctantly. But with the new year comes a new push to help our kids get to that finish line. Barron Whited, a counselor at Agora Cyber Charter School, has some tips for parents on how to help their kids get a fresh start for the second half of the school year.
Yes.
And you know, the first step might actually be looking back.
Yes.
At how the first half went.
Yeah, you definitely want to look at the first semester grades to see how well you did. And you know, if you had those lower grades, you want to figure out what do you need in the second half of the year. Look at, you know, quarter one, quarter two, some schools call it marking period 1 and 2. Look at that and see what you need to average out for the second half of the year. It's also important to know what your school's grading scale is.
Right.
Because every school's is different. Also know if that class is a pass-fail class. Maybe they just give progress grades. So you have to figure out
like an S for satisfactory or more. Yeah.
Yes, you have to figure that out for the second half of the year.
You know, we have also talked about how grades don't tell the whole story all the time. So how do you get your kids to open up when looking back at that first half? So let's say there were some classes, maybe they got a C or a lower grade, and there's room for improvement. How can you get them to open up about how to work towards goals in the second half?
So I think what you have to do is look at those short-term and long-term goals. Just ask them, what did they feel like they struggled in? What do they think the weaknesses were? And then build upon that, because there may be something like, maybe they have test anxiety, that they freeze on an exam. So they might need that additional support. And there are wonderful resources out there, especially through the school counseling department, that can kind of help you through that.
This is also a good time to help your kids get reorganized for the second half of the, because this is kind of like the crunch time when everything starts to, big projects are wrapping up or just starting a new one.
Yeah, it's important to have a distraction-free workplace. You know, there's not like a high traffic area, there's not music going on, and look at when you're organizing, each of your subjects have like their own folder. That could be like a paper folder or electronic, because they get a lot of information, especially like study notes. Definitely keep those in the right areas, because it's important to know what is going to happen, like what's expected of you on the exam.
Well, I know even creating a good routine can be so important, and having 10 days off from school kind of puts you on the backside of it, because you know, maybe you've been staying up late and you're not certainly getting up early. How can we get back into that healthy routine?
So I think it's important to do a daily to-do list, because I found myself the first day back, I'm like, it's hard to get back into this. So I think the daily to-do list can be so helpful. So.
You know what I'm finding too, the older my kids get, there are a lot of projects that are either being done solely in the classroom or they're doing them independently. My daughter, for instance, just said that she completed a book report. I said, wait, what? She didn't come to me with it. I didn't even know that it was happening, which is wonderful to see the independence and taking ownership, but it can also leave you out of any kind of help or assistance.
Right.
How do you stay in touch with what's happening?
So all schools have an electronic grade book. Definitely keep track on it. I mean, it's available to parents and students 24/7, 7 days a week. Check and see what assignments that they have. See if it's like, if it was in class, if it was outside of class. Those point values have a big impact. If something has 100 points compared to 10 points, then you probably want to look at that. Not saying you want to dismiss the 10. You want to do everything, but that 100 points has a big impact.
What do you find is the biggest struggle for kids going into the second half of the school year?
Well, if you're talking about like seniors, the senioritis sets in.
Right.
You know, they did really well the first half of the year. They're like, I can just breeze through. And they don't understand that colleges, post-secondary education, they do look at the second half of the year. The younger grades, you know, it is kind of hard because we set into this winter blues thing, you get that cabin fever. So it's hard to get out of that mindset. So you definitely have to like, okay, I need to focus and get that motivation within inside.
You know, I found too, like even just going to the library, just getting them into a new environment to help them kind of harness some of that winter blues
and it's important to set that up on your schedule. You know, get out of the house a couple times a week, you know, even if it's going to the gym or just, again, going to the library or even walking around your neighborhood can be very beneficial.
It gets you that energy. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Always
for
good
having
to
me.
see you. If you're interested in learning more about Agora Cyber Charter School, you can head to our website, kdka.com/talkpittsburgh.